So today we're going to be talking about the heart of Houston. Doom, 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 doom. My heart's beating a little bit sitting so close here to Drusinda Mims. Look, it's one of the best neighborhoods, full of culture, great restaurants, wonderful green spaces.
Art, music.
You name it. The one neighborhood that probably has it all. So we're going to be talking about Montrose right now. This channel is all about Houston, Texas. The good, the bad, the ugly, the in and out, anything and everything you want to know. So if this is the first time you use this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, that way you're notified every time we put out a new video. And look, whenever you or anybody you know are getting ready to move here to Houston, give us a call, send us a text message, shoot us an email, any which way you want to reach out to us, we'd love to help. So today you're going to be talking about Montrose.
It's one of my most favorite neighborhoods.
And you've been kicking it since you've been kicking it in Montrose for a long time.
A long time.
We won't we won't give all those details.
We're going to tell a few stories today.
A few stories. Well, go ahead.
So Montrose was originally developed back in 1911. So it's been around a while. It's about 7.5 square miles. And it's roughly bounded by Interstate 59 south, right? Going all the way up to Allen Parkway.
Yep. Not the Allen Parkway, as I like to call it, but Allen Parkway.
All right, to the north,
yeah.
Shepherd to the west, and then as you get over to kind of the Midtown side, it's not just a straight line. So what we're gonna pop up on the map, and we've put a little outline on there so that you can see where the boundaries are. All right. So Montrose is a very demographically diverse neighborhood.
Say that 10 times.
It's got lots of renovated bungalows, cottages, with porches, like wraparound wide porches. You've got beautiful tree-lined boulevards. It's a beautiful neighborhood. I think I already said that.
Yeah, it is.
It's often been called the heart of Houston. It's also been called the strangest neighborhood east of the Pecos.
Yeah. So long before it was keep Austin weird and everything else, Montrose was always known as the most eclectic, stylish neighborhood around.
Yep. It's even been referred to as the Gayborhood. Okay.
Is that why you're wearing the rainbow earrings? Did you do that on purpose?
No.
There's a little subtle shout out to the community, to the tribe.
Okay. I've lived in Montrose 2 different times in my life, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
It's full of energy. There's always something going on. You're never going to be bored. In fact, you may, want to wind up moving to a quieter neighborhood, if anything, but you'll never be bored living in Montrose. It's actually a very walkable community, which you can't say for too many neighborhoods in the Houston metro area.
So what makes it so walkable?
Okay, well, I was going to throw out the walkable score first to let everybody know that it's an 86.
Okay. Well, now that you said it's an 86, what makes it so walkable?
Well, so I think we've talked about this in our other videos, that there's no zoning in Houston.
Yeah.
Which can be a blessing or a curse, depending on how you view it. But in Montrose, how that plays out is that you've got, all of these homes, but surrounding these homes, or kind of mixed in, are all of these bars and restaurants and museums and, parks and, yeah. So, which we're going to get into those and talk about all the fun stuff. So,
I get it.
You've got lots of antique stores, thrift shops, like the Guild Shop is one of my favorites. That's run, I think, by the Episcopal Church, but you can always find some really good deals, good finds there.
What was that one that we drove by? Out of the Closet? Thrift store? What? But that was the name of the thrift store. We literally have a B-roll, cut to B-roll.
Okay. Montrose has tons of bars, restaurants, nightclubs. You've got art galleries, museums, thrift shops. One of my favorites is the Guild Shop. Antique stores, did I say that already? Boutiques.
Yeah.
You've got
Pop-up markets.
You got lots of pop-up markets, farmers markets, that kind of thing. They actually took the big lot. They tore down the whole strip center there at the corner of Westheimer and Montrose. And right now it's just a big parking lot, but it's going to be developed soon. And so right now they've actually turned that into, like yesterday I drove by and they had all the food trucks lined up. So they were gonna have like a fun Friday food truck thing going on. And then they've got a big farmer's market and just like a pop-up market with lots of different vendors. There's another pop-up market that happens down by Poison Girl, and there's like tattoo shops and thrift shops and restaurants right along the Westheimer Strip there near Dunleavy. So lots of opportunities to do all kinds of shopping, and you'll see lots of young people there, lots of resale clothing shops, to recycle. It's a very hip thing to do right now. It's funny, we were actually driving through Montrose to shoot some B-roll, and I looked at Carrie and I said, wow, a lot of my life has happened in this neighborhood, like just pivotal points that we're not gonna hit on too much today.
Tell them about when you used to sneak out of the house and go to Numbers. Or not sneak out of the house, I guess you used to.
That was when I was in New York, but yeah. So my family moved to New York City do I dare say the year? Back in 1983, and I was a freshman going into high school. And so I would come back in the summers and hang out with my friends and like spring break, that kind of thing. And so, we would go, there was a bar actually on Westheimer back in the day in the 80s called the Daiquiri Factory. And so, we would go frequent there.
I thought you were going to say Numbers because it's still there.
Oh, well, we went to Numbers too. And Numbers actually had an all ages night, but it's a very well-known nightclub, kind of alternative for their music. A lot of big names have gone through there.
So what was the first big band to play there?
The Village People. Which I totally wish I would have been there. That would have been fun. But that was before my time.
But there's been a lot of them since then, right?
So yeah, they had bands like Susie and the Banshees, The Damned, Stray Cats.
I like Stray Cats.
Let's see, Iggy Pop played there in '83, REM in '84, The Cure, The Cult, Red Hot Chili Peppers. So some pretty big things. That was a pretty big deal at the time when The Cult came through. If you're into that. But that was a good segue into nightlife in Montrose. There's a plethora of bars and nightclubs, and honestly, you'll have, the cool thing about Montrose is it's so diverse. You'll have like all different age ranges, and you'll have just every walk of life. And you will find your people in Montrose, whoever they may be.
And all different vibes too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, well, I don't want to go to examples because you'll probably cover them later. But everything from quiet, nice restaurant to
wine bar.
Yeah, to wild and crazy.
And everything in between. Yeah.
Jinx.
So one of the important things to consider if you decide to live in Montrose is where in Montrose you want to live. Because, there's a certain section where a lot of the nightclubs are, and I personally probably wouldn't want to live, even though there's some beautiful homes there. In fact, there's quite a few historical homes. There can be a lot of petty theft, like car break-ins, that kind of thing. And if you live in that neighborhood, it may be hard if you have people over for them to find street parking, just because everybody that's coming to the club.
Now, just to be technically safe, you want to be sure and refer anyone to.
That was the next thing I was gonna tell you, is that we always refer people to HPD's website for crime statistics.
Houston Police
We are
Department.
By no means experts in crime. We're just, I'm just speaking out of my own personal experience.
Right.
You also, a little fun fact, you can't park within 20 feet of a stop sign. Did you know that? One night I went to an Indian restaurant right there on Westheimer in the heart of Montrose that's no longer, I guess it just didn't survive during COVID, and came out, and my friend had a ticket. She was parked in front of me for being within 20 feet of a stop sign, and somebody had broken my car window in. So
where you live, going back to that our clients, they had a beautiful downtown view, but their home backed up to
LaGrange.
LaGrange.
Which is a very cool, fun place to go.
And they loved it because they could walk to the best restaurants, walk anywhere. They could walk to the park, easy access to downtown because he was a judge. But that was, the music, especially from LaGrange during Sunday brunch or during those Sunday afternoons, was a bit of a distraction for them, right?
It could be loud. I think at some point they asked them to turn it down and it really wasn't a big issue. But of course that's something to consider. There's pros and cons. The biggest, I think, issue for them was that most of the parking in that little Cherryhurst neighborhood, which is just beautiful, which is just a little subsection of Montrose. It's either no parking or permit parking only. And so it can be, you might have to park. Every time I went over there, I had to park like a block and a half away over by the park, which was frustrating, right? That was kind of annoying.
Carrying all the open house signs.
Yeah, and the heat, having to carry all your stuff, but not a big deal. So that's just something to consider. And I do find that today, oftentimes when you're having people over, they are Ubering or taking a Lyft. So just something to think about. If you have your own driveway and you live in a single family, they had a single family home, but it was set up more like townhome style. And so they had a shared driveway. But if you have your own private driveway, then it's not a big deal, right? That's a moot point. So, but we just want to throw that in there because that's an important fact to consider. Something that people just don't talk about or necessarily think about. We're just going to go a little bit through some of the bars and just, we're just going to maybe name some of the classics and not go, because there's a lot of them. And the one thing that, I crack up every time we're driving through is that it's just constantly changing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what happened to this restaurant? It's gone and now it's something new. Okay, well, we've got to come back and try this, which is, it's good and bad, right? Because sometimes your favorite restaurant or bar to go to may close down, but there's usually something new and exciting in its place. So that's the good news. So let's see, I made a little list here. Let me look at my list. West Alabama Ice House, which is on West Alabama, which is just a classic, you can hang out. It's an ice house, so you're outside. And they've even got a little basketball court. So if you want to get in on a friendly game, you can do that. Rudyard's, which is a classic, they have live music. I think sometimes they might even have comedians that come in, but that's just a classic neighborhood pub. A little grungy, on the grungy side maybe. You've got Avant Garden, Poison Girl, which is right on Westheimer there. Catbirds, which is another oldie right down the block. LaGrange, Anvil. I think Anvil is probably my favorite. It's all spirits.
Now these are bars, right?
And I think I had a friend go in and order vodka once, and she was told, that
vodka's not a spirit.
It's not a spirit, and so they don't have any vodka drinks. Just FYI.
You had some stuff that you wanted to say about food in Montrose before you got to your list, right?
We love food, yes.
Yeah.
And it is kind of a list, I guess. It's just not structured the way that I did for the bars. Because it's a little bit more personal. I can't talk. Montrose has an excellent variety of amazing restaurants. And so one of my favorites is called Nippon. So if you like Japanese food, which I happen to love Japanese food. And I've actually been eating at this restaurant since the 90s. Back at its original location, it's moved once to my knowledge. And it's family owned and run, and it's more of a traditional sushi, Japanese restaurant. And you'll often see a lot of Japanese people eating there, which to me is always a good indicator that, they have authentic food. But I love it. They know me, I know them. And actually their son, Naoki, opened his own place over on Shepherd. So technically it's right on the edge. It's like on the line between Montrose and Upper Kirby. And poor guy, he's having to deal with all the construction right now, which is just a total nightmare on Shepherd.
But his is less of the traditional Japanese food, and it's more of this Japanese fusion, he even does like barbecue. It's really, I don't know, it's kind of a hard taste to describe, but it's
good. It's called Shun, and it's just a shout out to him. It's really good. And I think everything is done seasonally there. So,
Yeah.
but he's super creative.
Yeah.
And so it's just not your typical menu, and it's a lot of fun, and I recommend going there. So this is not an ad for them. We
Yeah.
don't get paid anything, but we just have been eating there a long time. So if you're really a sushi connoisseur and you like to go to fancy places, I would say go to Uchi, which is on Montrose. And it's actually in a space that used to be a very old school Mexican restaurant called Felix that had the thickest queso I've ever had in my entire life. And it was like it was the place to go back in the 90s, after you'd been out, dancing all night or whatever. And go get that queso, and it helped the hangover. But anyway, it is now Uchi, which the chef there is a James Beard Award winner, and it's just, the food is incredible. If you don't want to, spend hundreds of dollars on dinner easily, yeah. I mean, we go in and it can be with our friends. You're talking like a $600 or $700 dinner quite easily, depending on your taste and how much you order. So we'll give it that caveat, but it's very delicious. But they do have a happy hour. You have to be there very early, kind of waiting for the door to open to get in, because there's limited spots at the bar. But they do have a great happy hour. And then we sound like we're like some kind of food reviewer, so we're gonna move on.
No, because all we've done is sushi so far. There's
we're gonna move right, but
okay.
You've got so El Tiempo, which is our favorite Mexican. It's not our favorite location, the one in Montrose. We actually like to go to the one in Washington, but that's closer to where we live. But the one on Westheimer, it's at the corner, I think, of Taft and Westheimer, and that's really good too. You've got Nico's for Greek, and in fact, we're gonna get into that because this weekend is the Big Greek
this
Festival.
Weekend's the Big Greek Festival.
But Katz's Deli. So if you have ever been to New York City and you like Katz's Deli, there's one also very close to. It's right by Uchi. Also, it's like 2 blocks away, I think, or a block away. You've got Polly's, which is a great place to go for lunch. They have the big salad. This always reminds me of Seinfeld. Back in the old Tower Theater, it's been a number of things over the years.
Yep.
Now it's a new, I think, Acme Oyster House.
Yep.
So we haven't been there yet. We need to go give that a try. Max's Wine Dive, which is one of my favorites. You've got Bohème, La Mexicana, that's been there forever. I mean, that's just, another classic Mexican food restaurant that's very well patronized. People love it.
So of all the places in Houston, because we've talked about the Washington corridor having good food, we've talked about the Heights having good food. I mean, just about every place. And would you say Montrose is sort of and sorry to pardon the reuse of the term, would that be the heart? Would that be like the center of the food and the food scene? I mean, because we didn't even talk about Hugo's. We didn't even talk about LaGrange. We didn't even talk about some of the other great
LaGrange is
restaurants.
known for its food, but yeah, I mean, I would say that Montrose is one of the more happening food spots for Houston, and there's a whole long list, right? Like, I mean, Houston's just, it's amazing for food.
Yeah.
There are even, lots of, like Montrose is also kind of very known for its coffee shops and bakeries. And we're not talking about Starbucks.
Yeah.
We're talking about like Agora, and you've got Common Bond Bakery. And then Empire Cafe, which again, I was going to back in the 90s, and it's still very much alive and well, and people love it and still go there. So again, that is just a sampling. It's by no means a complete list. We're going to move on and talk about culture, because you can't talk about Montrose without talking about culture.
Right.
You've got the Menil Collection, the Rothko Chapel. So if you're into art, I definitely would hit those 2 places up. You've also got the Houston Center for Photography. And one of the big festivals that we have here in Houston every year is called Photo Fest, which is one of my favorite events to go to. I'm not sure that you've been with me yet.
I haven't been yet.
That's, partly to last couple of years, COVID and everything. I think they did it online.
The HSPVA? HSPVA.
High School for Performing and Visual Arts.
Now, isn't that down in the Montrose area, or was it?
It used to be, and now it's the is it the Arab language school?
Arab language school.
Yeah, it's an Arab language school. And they've moved HSPVA downtown now.
Oh, okay.
I looked it up because I was curious. I was like, how did I not know that this moved? And it's kind of embarrassing, but we were driving by filming and I was like, oh, and here's HSPVA, and it is no longer there. It's a whole
But
new
it used
school.
to be,
Yeah.
which would make all the sense in the world that it would be there.
Yeah, but now it's downtown. So there's also the Stages Repertory Theater, and they do comedy and all kinds of fun things. So you don't have to go downtown if you want to go to the theater. You've got your own right there in Montrose.
Sort of like the off-Broadway.
Yep, exactly. So we kind of hit on it before. There's lots of festivals that are in Montrose, and it's funny because there are a lot of festivals that used to be in Montrose that have now moved to downtown or like to Memorial Park. But
that were started there.
That were started in Montrose. And one of my favorites is actually started last night. It's going on this weekend, is the Greek Festival, which is a ton of fun. They've got the big Pride Montrose Block Party, the Houston Cinema Arts Festival, Houston International Jazz Fest, which I'm not sure since COVID that's back on yet or not this year. I couldn't really find that out. But it used to be, that was something to consider because you had the Pride Parade going all through Montrose and it would just shut everything down. And it was just a massive party. And so it's just something to consider in terms of like...
Anytime you're having a big party in your neighborhood, there's going to be spilled drinks. There's going to be stuff that you're going to have to clean up, right? I mean, that's the part of...
Going to be trash, doesn't make it into the bin, that kind of thing. And also just getting in and out of your house with traffic and, main streets being shut down. So anyway, it's no longer there. It goes through downtown now, which I think is brilliant. I think you can fit more people. I think it's just easy. I think it's more accessible for everybody to go and have a good time. So, and celebrate. All right, so green space we're going to talk about because that's, Houston is one of the greener cities, believe it or not.
I thought in one of our previous videos it was the greenest city.
We have some of the largest park spaces. So Allen Parkway, which is along Buffalo Bayou, which we're going to have on the map here, amazing outdoor space. The city has sunk millions of dollars into renovating this whole space. So the hike and bike trails are incredible.
Dog parks.
Yeah, there's a big dog park at the corner of I think it's Waugh and Allen Parkway on that south side. And right across from that is the Waugh Bridge that goes across Allen Parkway where Montrose crosses over. You've got a whole bat colony that lives underneath that bridge, and so there's certain times, certain days at dusk you can go and watch all the bats migrate out, and it's pretty amazing to watch. So that's we'll put a link in the description if that's something that you're interested in, because that's a cool outing to take your kids to witness.
Just out of curiosity, do the bats only migrate on like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or is it pretty much you can go down there any night at sunset and watch them migrate?
My husband loves.
But there's also a lot of little parks. There's Cherryhurst Park, which we drove around, but there's also
a lot of parks,
Baldwin Park.
But that's Midtown.
Baldwin is Midtown.
There's a lot of little parks, but Allen Parkway I would say is the biggest. I mean, and there again they have like the big 4th of July celebration is there. The art car parade, it goes through downtown, but it also starts on Allen Parkway. You'll see people like trainers actually use that space to work people out. You've got hills there that go down to the bayou, so a lot of people run the hills. The trails are beautiful. Once you're down in there on your bike or you're walking or running, you can take the dogs, go by yourself, whatever. It's actually very well lit now. I still don't think I would go at night, especially not by myself, but you're still in a big city, even though it doesn't feel like you are. The cool thing too is that you're down there and you've got these beautiful downtown views. So if you're going at sunrise, that's pretty spectacular because the sunrise is on the east and downtown is on the east side. So that's a nice thing to do. Okay, we talked about the dog park. Oh, so the other thing is you can actually rent boats like canoes or kayaks, and you can go boating or kayaking down the bayou. And they even have a professional boat tour that you can take that I did one afternoon with a group of people. That was amazing. I learned all about the history of Houston and ports and just places, you get to go places that ordinarily you can't go in a car, and that was really neat. And again, it's something I highly recommend you do. But I would do it not in the dead of summer because it is a little bit hot.
Do it right about now.
Yeah, right now would be perfect. Although it's pretty warm again today. It's been cool, how it is. But there's a guy though that's famous, and I think now he's been, I don't know if it was America's Got Talent or one of those shows, but he's been around forever, and
the roller skate.
He's a roller skater, probably rollerblade. I don't know if he rollerblades or roller skates, but he is like dancer extraordinaire, and that's what he does to exercise. But you'll see him.
Entertainment for anybody and everybody driving in that neighborhood.
I mean, it'll just put a smile on your face, and that's how he gets his exercise. And I even saw him somewhere different the other day, and I hadn't seen him in a long time, and it just made me smile, and it made my day seeing him out there. And he's just having the best time. So Houston has a lot of, staples like that of people who just,
brighten your day.
They do, and they make their mark. So last but not least, Allen Parkway has a really cool skate park, and it's the Jamal Skate Park. So if you are into skateboarding or you have kids that are into skateboarding, it is the place to be.
But that's also just sort of the base or the launch pad, depending on whether you're going into or out of, away from downtown. So there's food trucks there doing desserts, and there's a big restroom and rest area and everything right there along with the skate park as well. That's also where they have a lot of bike rentals, where you can rent the bikes to ride up and down.
Yeah.
I was going to say, there's a lot of real estate agents, there's a lot of realtors here in Houston, but I mean, we have people calling us all the time because, we live it. You've lived here, I don't want to say your whole life.
I haven't lived here my whole life, but almost.
But a long time.
Minus 10 years.
And just, all these ins and outs.
So, which gets us to real estate, because I'm sure that's on everybody's mind. We've told you what a great place Montrose is. If it's something that you're considering, please call us. I'm just going to give you an idea of what?
Well, it's a great place if that's what you're looking for. Lots of times people...
It may just be that you want to live somewhere else and come to Montrose to go out to eat or go dancing or have a good time, go to a festival, whatever. But if you like to be in the heart of things and you want to be, because the one thing we didn't talk about yet actually is how easy of a commute it is. You are so close to downtown.
How do we not cover that? It's like we talk about that in every video.
Yeah. So literally it is just, you would have like maybe a 10-minute commute to downtown. You could probably even be there in 5 minutes depending on the time of day.
But not only downtown, you've got Greenway Plaza that you're close to. You've got the medical center that you're close to.
Center, Galleria.
Energy corridor. I mean, you are
definitely, again, the heart of Houston, right? Because it's really the first neighborhood outside of downtown. You've got Midtown, which we're going to do. That's our next video, and so I don't want to give too much away there, but Montrose is really the first neighborhood next to downtown on the west side.
So Montrose, we've talked about older homes built in 1911. There's this phenomenon that's been going on over the last 3, 4, 5 years and projecting out where, like you were mentioning, that whole strip center being leveled. There's been a lot of development, but like the multi-use where you've got apartment with retail, big retail centers, big apartment, like multi-family condo units. There's been a lot of big
high rises, like the
high rise, big brand new development. Why is that?
Tons of development. Well, I think most urban areas, right? People are building up. There's a limited amount of land. And so, the developers come in and they build up, and I think...
Well, I agree with that, but I think that also one of the things that's driving it is there's so many people that want to be in that Montrose area.
Agreed.
There's so much going on that there's such a high demand, and you can only make the lots so small before you have to start building up. and there's just some beautiful retail, multifamily housing, condo, apartment complexes going up in that area.
Very true. But there are still a lot of amazing single family homes, and some are brand new, and then you've got these older homes that have been, rehabbed. You have older condominium complexes, older townhomes that were built, like in the 70s. Then you've got the cottages and bungalows from the early 1900s. So for example, we're going to talk a little bit of real estate now, give you an idea of pricing and what you can get in Montrose. So we're going to just talk about some properties that have sold recently in Montrose. Single family homes range from about $390,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and that's roughly like a little over 2,000 square feet. And that's on a small lot, like 1,400 and change square feet, all the way up to like 3.2 million. Now the 3.2 million was a historical home in Cortland Place, which
Cortland Place.
Yeah,
it's a great area. We were driving around there, and I've been here for a while, and I had never driven through and saw that beautiful historic mansion area.
It's a historical neighborhood in Montrose that is gated, and it's the only gated community I know of that's not like a gated townhome community, right? Like this is a true
old school.
And this house that sold recently, it was the lot was over 26,000 square feet.
Wow.
So it wasn't an acre, but it was pretty darn big. What is that, like half?
It's about half.
Half an acre. The house was 6,456 square feet. So you're talking a big house. It had, I think, a 3-car garage. Let me look at my notes. It was like a 3-car garage with a garage apartment over it with a pool. So we're talking about a decked out.
Now I know a lot in
elevator.
Montrose. Some of those bigger, older homes get converted into office space or commercial space there as well. But there's also, they maintain some residential.
I suspect that Cortland Place has deed restrictions. So yes, if you go down Lovett Boulevard, for example, I used to work for a software startup company, and they actually own two of the big houses there on Lovett that they converted, into office space. They still look like homes, but they're so huge that they're really large office spaces now. And so, yeah, for sure. Again, there's no zoning in Houston. So the second most recent high sale in Montrose was $2,088,000, and it was brand new construction, and it was quite beautiful. And it was 4,489 square feet on a 6,250 square foot lot.
That's not a big lot for a $2-point-something million house.
No, but it was really beautiful. It's a beautiful house, and it's got a swimming pool also, and that's over in Lancaster Place. So that's more on the southern side of Montrose. So the average sales price for single family homes is $791,000 as of today for the last 6 months. So that can give you a rough idea. You can definitely less more, but that is the average sales price. So now we're going to talk a little bit about townhome condos, which range, you can get a 1-bedroom, 1-bath for $115,000, and that's going to be in an older condominium complex that's got like a small pool, but they're nice. I mean, it's a nice place. So there are still some affordable options. They're obviously fewer and far between.
Yeah, and those especially those older condo complexes, weren't you telling me some stories about the fees, the maintenance fees and everything?
You can have high maintenance fees, but you have to look and see, like, well, does it include your water, your cable? Oftentimes they'll include lots for you. So you just have to check with your realtor. Give us a call. We're happy to tell you this kind of things.
Hopefully you'll check with us as your realtor.
Exactly. We'll look it up for you. So that particular condo had 558 square feet, and it was built in 1960. Then that goes on up to I think the most expensive townhome that sold recently was for $865,000 in Montrose, and that was a new house that was built, or newer, in 2017, and it also had an elevator and a rooftop deck. And it was actually really beautiful. I think they'd put $100,000 worth of upgrades in after after buying it. So it was still newer, and then they put a bunch of money into it, and it was really gorgeous. And it had really beautiful downtown views, and they even put in a whole house generator, which if you've watched any of our other videos, you know that's a really big selling point for Houston, because we do get hit with hurricanes and the occasional freak freeze and can lose electricity. So having a hardwired whole house generator that's, you know, plumbed for gas is pretty awesome. That house had 3 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and the average sales price for Montrose is $421,000. So that pretty much.
So look, whenever your family are wanting to explore Montrose, explore Houston, reach out to us, give us a call, send us a text message.
We'd love to help you find your place.
Well, we love this city and we love helping people and couldn't think of anything better. So give us a call, and if you stuck around this long, give us that thumbs up. And if you like what we're doing, tell us. If you don't like it, tell us down in the comment section. We really appreciate it.
Until next time, see you soon.
Bye.